So let's talk about what is the goal of the spiritual life, because that will help us distinguish the goal from the stops along the way. So we live in the world of form. The body is a form, the ego is a form, but reality is formless. So as long as we experience separation, as long as we feel that there is an inner and an outer, then we have not arrived at the final state. In the final state there is no separation or duality. The forms appear within the formless. The formless can be described as consciousness, as energy, as life, however we describe it. The person who experiences the formless does not feel separate. This person experiences the changeless within the change. So let us use the example of silence. When we make an effort to be silent, and we are in an environment which emphasizes silence, we can experience the silence within. And we notice the difference between the silence and the noise, including the noise that is made by our own minds. In the deepest silence, everything is silence. The noises arise within the silence, and they do not disturb the silence. They are expressions of the silence. So this is the non-dual state of silence. If we have an understanding of the goal, then we can go back and look at the problems that happen along the way. So let's talk about the mystic or the psychic, a person who has wonderful visions. They may be real visions, they may be real mystical experiences, they may be wonderful, but as long as there is an inner and an outer, then it is not the final experience. There's a story of the great Hindu sage Ramakrishna and his student Vivekananda. And Ramakrishna asked Vivekananda, "What is your dream? What is your goal?" And Vivekananda said, "To remain in meditation for hours on end." And Ramakrishna said, "You fool, there is more than that." So this is not a criticism of Vivekananda because he was a very great soul. But he was fortunate to have a teacher who could point out his confusion. Another problem of the mystic or the psychic or the visionary is that when they have a real experience, the ego gives an interpretation of the experience. And then we can think that the interpretation is the experience. Another problem that Paul Brunton points out is that the mystic is very attached to their spiritual, emotional experiences, and that they do not emphasize enough reason, critical thinking, and scientific investigation. There is a beautiful quote by Rumi. Rumi said, "To say that I am God at the wrong moment is a curse, but to say that I am God at the right moment is a blessing." So this whole study of the sensitives is how to know the difference. So let's take another example. Let's say somebody here has a beautiful experience of Maindra. You have a vision or an experience of the divine feminine which overwhelms you, and maybe you start crying. Let's say someone in India who is Hindu has the same experience, but for them the Divine Mother appears as Mother Kali. Or to someone in China or Japan, the Divine Mother appears as Kuan Yin or Tara. And of course, for many of us who grew up in the Christian world, she may appear as Mary. And in each case, she will look a little different, but the essence of the experience is the same. It is a true experience. But the form that the mind gives to the experience may be an expression of the truth, but is not the truth itself. So we must always make an effort to distinguish the essence from the form. Because they are all correct experiences, but they are experiences. We could say that anything that is an experience is not the truth, is not the final truth, because there is an experiencer and an experience. And there will be many beautiful experiences along the way. And there will be many confused experiences along the way. But we must remember that in the final experience, there's only the oneness.